Welcome to the Nortex Mining YouTube channel. This is our first video, so we're going to start from square one, getting started with helium. Is helium mining legit? That is the first question that crossed my mind. It's probably the first question that's crossing yours, or some sort of friends or relatives that, hey, how in the world do I know what this network is and how do I know it's legit? So let's go through probably the top three questions that you have when you're at square one. First, does this thing actually work? Second, is it easy? And third, is it safe? All right, so let's go through this first one. Does it actually work? What in the world is helium? Basically, and I know I'm watering it down somewhat, but what it basically is a network for sensors. I mean, you could get into all this LoRaWAN and IoT devices, but I mean, once you start going with the jargon, I think that's when you can lose maybe some of the boomer parents or, older crowd, and they might not be as tech savvy as you are. So the way I've basically explained it is you've got these sensors, you've got these antennas that are receiving data from the sensors, and then those antennas go ahead and forward that data to the internet. That's it. Three sentences, two, 3 sentences to be able to explain this. And at that point, I think I still had my boomer parents on board, and they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Well, what kind of sensors is the next question?" And so there's temperature sensors, water sensors, location sensors, and so that's basically it. And I mean, then their next questions are obviously, well, how in the world does this thing make money? This doesn't make any sort of sense. So, um, so then you kind of have to explain to them what mining HNT is, mining helium tokens. What is a helium miner? Things like that. But that I think is probably going to be for another video, and we'll probably have a playlist of the super basic points of the network and running through things at a high level. But the fact of the matter is that to answer this first question is does it actually work? Yes, it absolutely does actually work. There are people all over the world that have these antennas set up. Um, and so here you've got this Helium Explorer that kind of basically shows you the network. And once it loads up there, yeah, you can see all the hotspots here, or almost all of them here in North America. So the network has kind of taken on a life of its own. It's up to about 512,000 hotspots at this point, which is come a long, long way in a short amount of time. You can see here's the so on the Explorer page, you've got a lot of useful data right up here at the top, and maybe a lot of this might not make so much sense at first, but the price of the HNT token is here, and it's just got some basic data on the network. I mean, this is, I mean, okay, that's point one, right? Okay, great. Looks like there's a bunch of people all over the place doing this. Cool. What else goes into this? Or how else can you tell if this thing's legit or not? So the next thing I kind of did was going through the mining documentation, and you can see that there has to be some sort of approval here for these manufacturers to be able to make hotspots. So this isn't just a pure, helium ecosystem. They've relied on these other manufacturers to start making hotspots as well. And then in turn, I mean, there's these distributors that now kind of just specialize in selling helium equipment. I mean, you've got all kinds of people. I mean, Fast Miners is kind of one of the newer players. I'm not exactly sure how long they've been around, but companies like DigiKey and other distributors that make already have a business of selling sensors and antennas and networking solutions. They've also gotten on board. And so in other words, I don't think there'd be all this, vibrant ecosystem if this was just some smoke and mirrors kind of project. I mean, here's another one, Rockland. Fantastic customer service with Rockland. Um, and so they've, got a whole slew of antennas and cables and everything you need to kind of upgrade your setup. Rack Wireless, another company that sells sensors and all kinds of other equipment. And guess what? They've started manufacturing hotspots, or they were one of the original manufacturers, and now they're, selling a bunch of helium equipment. Other companies that have started from scratch and have started to sell outdoor enclosures, off-grid enclosures, like IoT off-grid here. So this whole thing has kind of taken on a life of its own, and I guess the point is I don't think all these people would have risked significant capital on something that was going to be a rug pull, or something that was just going to be a scam, or anything like that. This is a, a network that's being used by big companies right now. So, I mean, there's plenty of documentation to go through and see who else is using the network, and to be able to justify the legitimacy of the network. A ton of cool projects. I don't know why this is kind of taking a while. But yeah, I mean, there's community projects. There's all kinds of use cases for the network, and for these IoT sensors. I kind of like to just use the word sensors because, I mean, like I said, you start to lose people once you bring in more and more jargon. And I know it's complicated. It's not as simple as just, hooking up a you know, sensor to a network, and you can just like kind of press one button and you're done. I mean, there's all kinds of things that go into uh, being able to set up the sensors. But all right, we're getting off topic here. Let's get back to it. So the second thing is this easy? How easy is it to start mining? I think when people think of mining, they think of Bitcoin, they think of electricity, they think of mining Ethereum maybe with some GPUs, and they start to see, command line interfaces and other things that, requires maybe some technical expertise, and they get nervous, they get afraid, and they're like, man, this is kind of too complicated for me. But the Helium network's a little bit different. The basic setup is very easy to get going. They created an app that basically all it requires is you to know how to connect something to the internet, basically. I mean, you've got this hotspot that you screw on the antenna to, and you pair your phone to the hotspot via Bluetooth in the Helium app, and I can probably have a walkthrough of this at some point later, but very straightforward, very easy process. There's a bunch of other YouTube videos on how to set up your first hotspot. And I mean, if you know how to install a wireless printer or a smart TV, you can connect that to the internet, and that's basically all you need for a basic setup. Now, is that basic setup gonna earn you top dollar rewards? Maybe not, but that initial setup is very easy. And then maintenance is another thing that, hey, maybe you might have to, reset some things every now and again, but again, probably for another video. The third point is it safe? A lot of people kind of have that hesitancy when you're talking to them about, hey, maybe can I put a crypto miner at your house? I mean, I think that's kind of maybe not the best way to lead, but that's essentially what you're doing, right? You're putting crypto miners around your neighborhood, or with your friends and family. And a lot of people are asking, is it safe? So in my experience, yes, it is safe. It's just like any other application or any other piece of hardware that you're connecting to your wireless network. It's as safe as your wireless network. There are other things you can do. You can create a guest network to put this thing on. You can do some other things like putting it in a DMZ. And so what I've seen it compared to is you're probably about at the same risk level as having a wireless printer on your network. I mean, could the printer get hacked? Maybe. But is that super likely? And what exactly can the hackers do with that? I mean, not a whole lot. And as long as you're not opening any unnecessary ports on your router's end, I mean, this is pretty safe. I mean, there's not really a whole lot this hotspot can do on your network that you're not really expecting. So that's basically, I think, where we're gonna end this first video. Is it legit? Absolutely. A lot of people want to know, well, where do you cash out your tokens? It's another good question. Crypto.com has been my choice. So yeah, I mean, it works. Cashing your HNT into USD, it absolutely works. You can do it. It's not some other, micro cap coin that it's only traded on Uniswap or some other small international exchange. I mean, crypto.com's basically everywhere, and it's an easy way to get your HNT to US dollars and back to your bank account. I think it's probably taken 2 days at the longest for me. So it's a very, very legitimate, quick, and again, in my experience, I've done it before. So I know it can be done. I've done it before. And again, none of this is financial advice, but just know, yes, this is absolutely a legit project, a legit mining opportunity, and seems to me that I've kind of fallen in love with Helium. So that's where we'll end it today. I'll see you guys in the next one.